Now, I do emphasize we will not be duplicating. I'm old, but I wasn't there to monitor it, So we can't duplicate it, but we can simulate it. We do have a handle on what the magnetic signature was, the atmospheric pressure, the oxygen ratio, the carbon dioxide ratio, the electromagnetic field. We already have the electromagnetic field pulse generator in the corner on the other side to elevate the electromagnetic field precisely where we want it. We already have on premise the oxygen generators to collect oxygen, carbon dioxide generators. We have the controls, the filters, the compression tanks, all of those things on premise. Of course, it's always a dollar sign to get this completed, but that's fine. I gladly accept the challenge. Along with friends, I can take the challenge. The friends help us fulfill all of that, and it takes a lot of friends to do it. We lack about 125,000 getting that big one online. We had a small one online for a decade, and the results were phenomenal. Now, in that small one, we did the following. We had learned from Texas A&M, from the former head of biology at Texas A&M, then head of hyperbaric oxygen, that if you increase the atmospheric oxygen to simulate what we had before Noah's flood, the entire blood plasma of the whole organism, the whole body, is saturated with oxygen, the entire blood plasma. That solves major, major problems. For instance, you and I genetically, during gestation, during the 9 months of gestation, you and I genetically produced 200 billion brain cells. 200 billion. But we ended up with 100 billion. And we're doing pretty well with 100 billion. We can get to space and back pretty well, and we can learn to count, and we can do some good science, and we can fly artificially. Doing pretty well with 100 billion. But what happened to the other 100 billion? Texas A&M discovered, others had published on it as well, that a brain cell dies in 6 to 10 minutes of oxygen deprivation. So in today's atmosphere, today's context, the blood plasma is not saturated with oxygen. The hemoglobin picks up 4 oxygen molecules, that's all it can take. But the blood plasma is not saturated with oxygen. So here we are, here's this mother gestating her child, laboring to get enough oxygen for herself, transferring as much oxygen as possible to that kid, but can't give him enough. So during the 3rd trimester, just before the child's born, the last third before the child's born, there's a tremendous proliferation of brain cells. Millions of new brain cells every day. Millions, but almost all of them die. Why? Can't get enough oxygen. The rest of the body's taking it all, and the brain cell's already there. The brain uses over 20% of the oxygen that we take in. So the brain cells already there are taking all the oxygen, so the new ones can't get any. So we end up with 100 billion brain cells. What if and we're not going to run human experiments or primate experiments in the biosphere, but what if we had 100 billion brain cells? Would we be twice as smart as we are today? No, a lot more, because every additional brain cell, every brain cell has from 10 to 50,000 neuron connections to other brain cells. So the difference between 50,000, between 100 million and 100 billion and 200 billion brain cells is light years. So we're not going to run experiments with human beings. Someone can take that on later. But we are going to run experiments with this little tuatara lizard, this little sphenodon. We'd like to know how smart he can get, what that third eye really is for, how effective he can be, along with birds, insects. For instance, we're going to grow Meganeuropsis. That's a dragonfly. Today the dragonfly gets about a 5-6 inch wingspan. But in the fossil record, it got between a 36 and a 52 inch wingspan.